The KXAN News Podcast is sponsored by Shelf Genie. In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Avery Travis.
And I'm Daniel Marin. The lieutenant governor and a group of state senators are touting new bills they say will make the state's electric grid more reliable.
Even their critics agree with some of what's been proposed. But as KXAN's Monica Madden explains, they say you are going to pay a lot more for that peace of mind.
This is a starting point of powering Texas forward.
A bipartisan group of senators unveiled 9 proposals they say will resolve any outstanding issues with Texas's power grid. The same grid that nearly collapsed 2 years ago during the February winter freeze. Several of the bills focus on bolstering and growing dispatchable energy.
Regardless of whether the wind's blowing or the sun's shining or whatever else may be happening, it's ready to go electricity.
One bill would stop state incentives for renewable generation facilities.
They've still got a lot of federal subsidy coming in.
Another would create an energy insurance program to support the construction and operation of new generators, guaranteeing 10,000 megawatts always on standby, enough to power 7.5 million homes.
This is not building a capacity market. It is an insurance product.
That's a lot of backup to have consumers pay for.
But some critics fear these proposals will have a big price tag.
Very expensive for consumers.
Cyrus Reed of the Texas Sierra Club says the easiest solution is to reduce demand for electricity.
If we were to increase the amount that utilities have to spend on energy efficiency, reducing people's demand, we could reduce that red line that's going up and up.
Details both chambers will have to fine-tune in the next 2 months.
It will take several years. That's why we have to start now.
Now, the Public Utility Commission of Texas also spent months developing its own plan for the grid. We reached out to PUC Chairman Peter Lake to get his reaction to the Senate's plans. Lake sent us a statement saying, quote, they're working together toward the goal of reliable and affordable energy, and that senators made it clear that his agency's proposal is an important part of the solution that will achieve this for the Texas grid.
All right, Monica, thank you very much. An arrest warrant has been issued for Burnett County Judge James Oakley. The sheriff's office says Oakley was indicted this week on felony and misdemeanor charges that include tampering or fabricating physical evidence with intent to impair, 2 counts of abuse of official capacity, and official oppression. Now, we've been in contact with Oakley, who told us the charges stem from a fender bender at a gas station. And he says they involve his other job as the director of the board of the Pedernales Electric Co-op. Brianna Hollis is working to learn more about that. Don't miss her report coming up on KXAN News at 6.
Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell remains hospitalized. That's after suffering a concussion. The 81-year-old tripped and fell at a hotel last night while attending a dinner for the Senate Leadership Fund. This was at the Waldorf Astoria, Washington, D.C. Back in 2019, McConnell suffered a shoulder fracture after he tripped and fell in his Kentucky home. That injury required surgery to repair the fracture.
Lawmakers in D.C. questioned the CEO of Norfolk Southern about the train derailment that led to a toxic chemical spill and evacuation in Ohio. Alice Barr has more from Capitol Hill.
That's my question. Yes or no?
Emotions running high as senators push for accountability from the CEO of Norfolk Southern Railway for last month's train derailment and toxic chemical spill in East Palestine, Ohio.
Norfolk Southern will clean the site safely, thoroughly, and with urgency.
But residents living with the aftermath aren't feeling the urgency in the company response so far.
It's breadcrumbs. I mean, to be honest, we're looking at way bigger issues. Like I said, decreased home values, environmental concerns long term.
Senators pressing CEO Alan Shaw to commit to investing in East Palestine's people for the long haul.
The right thing to do is to say, yes, we will.
Senator, I'm committed to doing what's right for the community, and we're going to be there.
Ohio Senators Sherrod Brown and J.D. Vance slamming Norfolk Southern over a series of derailments, including one just today in Alabama.
The company followed the Wall Street business model. Boost profits by cutting costs at all costs.
The pair urging support for their bipartisan rail safety legislation. Senator Vance telling fellow Republicans hesitant over imposing new regulations to get on board.
We have a choice.
Are we for big business and big government, or are we for the people of East Palestine?
Worried residents pressing their senators for answers outside the hearing.
We share their anger and frustration.
There are moms who are here from East Palestine that are concerned for their families. What do you want to say directly to them?
You know, I guess the thing that I would say is first of all, I'm not going to forget about them.
A promise families affected by the devastating toxic spill are counting on. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And the bipartisan rail legislation Congress will be weighing includes a series of new safety standards, as well as requirements that local first responders know exactly what hazardous materials are traveling on trains through their communities.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist David Yeomans.
Well, hope you enjoyed the brief cool down yesterday evening as the front nosed into our area briefly. I say briefly because the warm, humid air is back. South winds blowing at 5 to 15 miles per hour have pushed that thing northward as a warm front. It is still comfortable up in the northern hill country, 71 in San Saba, but it is very uncomfortable for this time of the year from Austin southeastward. Lower 80s with a whole lot of humidity, making it feel quite muggy. Out here in Marble Falls on the Highland Furniture River City Grill Cam, mainly cloudy skies, 83 degrees. Not seeing any rain at this time across our 15 counties, but look up toward Dallas, rain and numerous lightning. We're watching this front and also a separate area of storms that may develop over northern Mexico. We're expecting those to converge on our area tonight. So stick around. We've got a risk of severe storms overnight. I'll show you the rain timeline for you, the threats we're most concerned with, and more ups and downs in the temperatures and humidity.
David, thank you. Stunning new images out of Mexico tonight. Jay Gray has the photos and a message from the drug cartel investigators say is responsible for kidnapping 4 Americans and killing 2 of them.
New disturbing images of an offering from the notorious Gulf Cartel. 5 men badly beaten, their hands bound behind their backs, left for Mexican police in the streets of Matamoros, along with a truck full of weapons and a note on the windshield, apologizing for what they call a mistake, kidnapping 4 Americans, killing 2, along with an innocent bystander, saying the 5 men acted on their own and outside what they call the rules of the cartel. Shaid Woodard and Zindell Brown are the Americans who died. Eric Williams was wounded. Latavia Washington McGee, traveling to Mexico for a medical procedure, wasn't hit during the attack.
She watched them die.
We now know.
Good morning, America! Mexico, here we come.
Initially, 5 people were inside the van as it left South Carolina for Matamoros. Cheryl Lawrence says she didn't have documents necessary to cross the border and that friends planned to drop McGee off for the cosmetic procedure, then come straight back to their motel. She says she called police when they didn't return. A show of force, hundreds of Mexican Army and National Guard troops stationed across Matamoros right now as the investigation continues. Jay Gray, NBC News.
General Motors is offering voluntary buyouts to a majority of its 58,000 white-collar employees in the U.S. In a letter to workers, CEO Mary Barra says the company wants to cut $2 billion in structural costs over the next 2 years. The voluntary separation program will be offered to all salaried U.S. employees who have spent 5 or more years at the company. Now, they're being offered 1 month of pay for every year of service up to 12 months. The company says the offers also are designed to avoid any possible layoffs at a later date.
A nationwide shortage of albuterol is about to get worse. The asthma medication has been in short supply since October. Now, one of the drug manufacturers, Acorn Pharmaceuticals, has filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. That was in February. It's reportedly closed its facilities. Another manufacturer, Nephron Pharmaceuticals, continues to manufacture the drug. It is important to note the shortage does not include albuterol inhalers for personal use, but only aerosolized solution that is often used in the nebulizers are impacted.
Now, the future in one Central Texas school district is portables. The district showing off its plans to accommodate growth and asking for another school bond months after voters said no to the last one.
Just ahead, the new screening rules that could help detect breast cancer sooner. What providers will be telling women.
And what gas prices are doing in Texas as spring breakers hit the road.
The The FDA will soon require mammogram providers to tell women if they have dense breast tissue. Those who do will get a recommendation to consult a doctor for possible further screening like an ultrasound. That's because women with dense breast tissue have a higher chance of getting breast cancer. About half of women age 40 and older do have dense breasts. The new FDA guidelines should be in place within the next 18 months. Just under 300,000 women are expected to be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer this year. Right now on the Simple Health page at KXAN.com, you can read up on how density can be an even greater risk factor than family history.
Well, tonight on NBC Nightly News, don't miss the conversation about boys and eating disorders. It's a problem many people associate with girls, but close to a third of the diagnosed cases of eating disorders are in men. And that includes this teenager who says he's struggled for years with his body image. He says family comments and sports made him more self-conscious about his size, and he didn't realize that as a boy he could have a medical and mental problem with food.
Had you ever heard of a boy with an eating disorder?
No, it kind of just seemed like a girl thing.
How much do you think just the sports aspect and different things that are gendered keep boys from figuring out what might be going on with them?
I feel like that's like a lot of what is put on the pressure is you join these teams and a lot of people fit into a body type and you don't have that body type. And you just have to learn to accept it rather than try to force yourself to be a body type you're not.
Ahead on Nightly News, some ways eating disorders can manifest differently in young boys and girls and trouble signs that parents should know.
Well, our weekly drought update is out, and unfortunately, with an overall lack of normal rainfall, we have seen some slivers of drought intensification and broadening in our area. The good news, though, as clouds increase after sundown tonight and temperatures cool, we are looking toward a higher likelihood of rain, thunderstorms, maybe even severe weather. The hour-by-hour timeline overnight when we come back.
This KXAN News podcast is brought to you by Shelf Genie. I'm Rosie Newberry from KXAN Studio 512. Considering replacing your kitchen cabinets? Struggling to find or reach things? Go to shelfgenie.com/Austin. Shelf Genie designs custom pull-out shelves for your existing cabinets, adding convenience and value to the most used room in your home. Shelf Genie custom pull-out shelves, everything in reach.
Dripping Springs ISD is buying millions of dollars worth of portable classrooms. This comes as the district is dealing with overcrowding at many of its campuses.
It also comes ahead of a big school bond vote. KXAN's Sarah Alshay shares what both the district and parents are saying about this big purchase.
More of these are coming to Dripping Springs ISD, portable classrooms. Currently, the district has 5. It says it needs more because the student body keeps growing. DSISD parent Terry Purdy says she knows some parents may not have a problem with more portables.
You know, it seems like it's cheaper, it's more affordable.
But for her, it's a concern.
I feel like it's not the best learning environment. It's not really the best investment when you know the district is growing and we should be building permanent classrooms.
Dripping Springs ISD says it plans on purchasing 6 portables for the 2023-24 school year, costing roughly $1.5 million. The district is calling for another bond election in May after its previous one failed in November. The new bond includes an expansion of Sycamore Springs Middle School and a new elementary school.
It's clearly dictated what happens with our portable situation if the bond does not pass in May.
The increase in portables was a topic of discussion during the Board of Trustees' previous meeting on February 27th. The district showed this graphic comparing how many more it would purchase if the bond fails. It estimates 14 classrooms would be in portables by the 2024-2025 school year. Sarah Alshay, KXAN News.
Sarah, thank you. The school board increased funding for portables by taking leftover funds from the 2014 bond, then amending both the 2018 bond and this school year's budget.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist David Yeomans.
Well, 5:18 now, and we're wrapping up another very warm early March day. The heat and humidity blew back in on a south wind today. Mostly cloudy, dry across the city at 83 degrees, including today's high temperature, which reached 86 officially in Austin. We continue to climb the leaderboard, or the bad leaderboard, I guess, for one of the warmest starts to March to date. on record. Overnight and daytime temperatures have averaged out nearly 10 degrees warmer than what we would expect for this time of the year. Now the fourth warmest start to March on record. Hill country, there's the front right there. 64 degrees in Richland Springs. Everybody else, though, is on the backside of this advancing warm front. 81 degrees in Horseshoe Bay and Marble Falls. 80s all throughout the metro counties, from 82 in Georgetown to 80 degrees. Good evening in Wimberley, east of 35. Much of the same, even warmer, actually. Boy, the wildflowers are beautiful. I was on 71 out there today. 83 degrees right now in Smithville. Pollen count, oak and mold are most problematic. Oak even higher, unfortunately, than yesterday. Ash, grass, and elm on page 2 all low. You see some storms firing up in Dallas. This is actually that stalled frontal boundary, which you can, of course, see better on the temperature map. 58 in Dallas, 83 here, and 90 degrees down in Laredo. This front does get a kick through our area tonight, but then it backs up again this weekend. And then another cold front arrives. That's going to lead to a serious yo-yo of our temperatures, kind of a bipolar weather pattern. 68 degrees tomorrow, 87 on Saturday, then a more extended stretch of cool weather blows in beginning on Sunday. Now tonight, as that front gets a boot through our area and a little upper level energy is here as well, that heat and humidity may spark a couple strong to severe storms. Marginal threat. That means it may not happen, but if we do see these storms develop in the right way, that 1 out of 5 threat for most of us could lead to large hail. That's our main concern, as you see here. Tornadoes, luckily not expected, knock on wood, this time around. Storm arrival time, roughly in the hill country, we got to start paying attention after 7 o'clock. Overnight, though, from Austin eastward, where our main focus in Austin, for instance, is 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. If you can, maybe park your car under cover or tied up against the side of your house before you go to bed tonight with that hail threat. Let me show you how this evolves. Not much going on right now. Later after dinner, we'll be watching that boundary in the hill country, but not much impressive happens, we think, until about 10 or 11 o'clock. At that time, the storms get a little boost here from some upper level energy passing through. Storms could actually take on what we call a supercell structure, like you see with a couple of these. These would be concerning with a hail threat, especially as they move from the hill country into Austin after the midnight hour. They continue eastward along the frontal boundary after that. The later overnight we get, we may still see some rain and thunder, but these are less likely to be severe as we lose daytime heating and as cooler air comes in on the backside of that front. Just a couple light showers on a cool start to the day tomorrow, morning clouds, and the slow return of eventual afternoon sun. Rainfall tonight, honestly, it looks a little beneficial. 1 to 2 inches of rain for those who are under the heavier, strong storms. As you can see here, though, hard to tell you where. If you don't luck out with some of that heavy rain, you might not get much rainfall in the backyard at all. Okay, tonight's forecast, 57 degrees with a likelihood of storms, some of them strong to severe. North winds drop the temperatures, and it feels great tomorrow. Mainly cloudy after that slight chance of some morning rain. High temperatures very comfortable at 68. Again, the front reverses course, though, on Saturday, leading to a 20-degree jump in the heat and humidity. 87 degrees then it cools down starting on Sunday. Daylight saving time, of course, begins at 2 a.m. Sunday. Spring your clocks forward 1 hour. That'll lead to darker mornings, but lighter evenings. Next week looks great for South by Music, the kids' spring break. Late in the week, though, we are already giving you your first warning on the next potential threat of severe storms.
Snow umbrellas for trees. Just ahead, how they're saving branches in parts of Japan that see snowy winters.
Well, if you lost any trees in last month's ice storm, you're going to want to take a look at this because this could have saved some of our branches. In Japan, workers are starting to remove what are known as snow umbrellas from trees in Kanazawa. This central region of Japan is prone to heavy snowfall, so ropes and pillars are set up on trees during the winter to prevent the branches from breaking under the weight of the snow. The snow umbrellas will be taken off about 60,000 trees by the end of the month.
Very interesting. All right, well, gas prices are rising across Texas as spring break travel picks up. AAA says the average in the Austin-San Marcos area is $3.07 a gallon. That is 13 cents more than it was last week. However, it's still 71 cents less than we were paying a year ago. AAA says demand for fuel is climbing while regional supplies have dropped.
Well, Americans who came of age during the pandemic are skipping college in big numbers. The National Student Clearinghouse says colleges nationwide saw an undergraduate enrollments drop from 8% from 2019 to 2022. Economists say the impact of this could be dire. Fewer college graduates could worsen labor shortages in fields from healthcare to engineering to information technology.
All right, tonight on KXAN, it's Law and Order Night. At 7, we've got The Original. At 8 o'clock, Special Victims Unit. And at 9, it is Organized Crime. And then we're back with KXAN News at 10.
Or join us an hour earlier for KXAN News at 9 over on the CW Austin. Here's where to find us: over the air or on your television provider.
Thanks for listening to KXAN News Nightly. You can also listen to KXAN News Today every morning for more in-depth coverage of what matters most to you.